Let's bring in now former FBI special agent and former FBI officer Tracy Walder. Tracy, thank you so much for joining us. So we know we're waiting on this update from the San Francisco DA, but the current charge right now carries a significant sentence. If this suspect is in fact convicted, do you think that will be enough to deter escalating political violence even further?
Well, thank you so much for having me. The short answer is no. So he's looking at a maximum of about 30 years in prison. That's just really on the federal charges. It's also possible that he's looking at state charges as well, which would be attempted homicide, assault, those types of things. So I would imagine he's looking at anywhere from 50 plus years once it's all combined together. However, I'm not certain that this really deters future attacks. And part of why I feel that is because right now there's also a sort of questioning of the credibility of the FBI and the agencies that are involved in charging him. And so I really am not certain that this is going to deter an act. I read the criminal complaint, and one of the things that really stuck out to me was that he was talking about how just like, the founders of America against the British, he was fighting tyranny without a chance of surrender. And so I'm not certain that someone that believes that will necessarily use this as a deterrent.
So, Tracy, you mentioned, federal charges, which we know, and then the state charges. Which ones would he be more likely to be convicted of, or is it either or?
That is absolutely an excellent question. It depends which one they're going to go after and which one they can see that they will have the most success in charging him with, and what they will get the largest amount of time in charging him with. My guess is that the state charges may actually carry a higher sentence. However, the federal charges are important in this case in that it sort of sets the stage for perhaps more security to be given to members of federal offices, to their families and other extended family members.
Tracy, how did law enforcement agencies really focus on, on keeping lawmakers safe, but not cutting them off from the public? Because again, we know Nancy Pelosi was not in her home. But how is this balance met?
You're right. Really the auspices upon which we were founded was the ability for people to really walk in and hold an audience with the president. That's what, people used to do in the 1850s. And granted, we're not at that place anymore. We don't want personal homes to become fortresses. People have a right to their personal homes and their personal property. And so it is this interesting balance. How many people within that family is security provided to? That's taxpayer dollars as well. And so all of these things need to be thought about. I do feel, just on a personal level, that someone of Pelosi's stature who's had, threats against her in the past probably should have had more security in her immediate residence.
And Tracy, it sounds like that press conference is supposed to be starting at any moment. But are there any questions that you specifically will be waiting for answers on?
Well, I would like to know, it was talked about in the criminal complaint that he wanted to talk, basically hold Nancy Pelosi hostage to speak to other members of Congress. So I want to know who those people are so that more security can be afforded to them, because clearly they're targets as well. I also want to know, who is he talking to on social media? What other threats did he have on social media? So those would be two things that would be important to me.
And do you think that security will be changed, will be enhanced around our leaders after this?
My hope would be yes. But again, the question is where does that coverage end? Is it just with immediate family, or does it go out into extended family?
All right, Tracy Walder, thank you so much for your time. And of course, we will take that press conference when it begins. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.